Everybody's got a price for the $1 Million Man.
Who's that kid? Nick. He looks like Beaker from Muppets.
The one on FS1, Nick Wright.
Yep. Yeah. I got something.
That's
for
amazing. I did not even. I love that.
If I get 5 women and they're all in the same room with me, we're going at it at 110%.
What's going on, everybody? Lazy Booking Podcast back on its regularly scheduled night and time. Coming at you for Niche Night. We're here first. Flyers Talk A2D comes at you later tonight. We're here to kick off Niche Night. As usual, I'm your host, Chrome, joined by my co-host, Eric Archer. What's up, brother?
What's happening, Chrome? Ready to talk some Wrestlepalooza?
Oh, yeah. I mean, a lot to talk about. We're coming off of I would say a very eventful Wrestlepalooza, to say the least. We're going to crack into that momentarily, but first and foremost, pay some bills and show some love to our doctor, Dr. Paul Vidal, at Specialized Physical Therapy. Physical locations in Burlington and Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can find them on the web at specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Any aches, pains, brand new, or any long-standing physical ailments that you have, please contact his award-winning team. We'll set you up, take a look at you, and get you on a program to get you back feeling better than ever. Hey, brother, lots to talk about. We have been debating this. So we were going to do one opening topic, and we decided to change it. And before we dive into it, I want to welcome in our viewers. Anybody out there, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, X, whatever you call it, please come in.
Come on in.
Drop in like our buddy Rob Povey here.
Hey, Rob.
Say hello. Drop your comments in. And while you're at it, give us a share, give us a like, give us a follow.
Yeah, this should be fun. This should be a good show. I think it's going to be very collaborative as well. I think the viewers, hopefully we see some new faces and get some feedback, because I think there's a lot of different opinions about what we saw over the weekend.
Yeah. Well, let's dive in, man. Let's get head first into it. Our opening topic, brought to you by SpecializedPhysicalTherapy.com, comes to us. And listen, we've been debating. We were going to do. Did the show fall short? Was it a success? But ultimately, I think from us debriefing and getting together to try to come up with a show criteria, this question seemed to be we're on two opposite ends of this. So
I'd say,
when we're agree to disagree radio, A2D, it's best to lean into it. So let's have this conversation. Brock Lesnar squashing John Cena was the wrong booking decision by WWE. Agree or disagree? Again, wherever you're at, Facebook, YouTube, X, comment in. We want to know your opinion on this topic. We're also going to talk about the two primary matches already announced for Crown Jewel, as well as another kind of, I would say, controversial list is the PWI 500 of 2026 released today, and I do not agree with the top 10. There's a number of things on there I don't agree with. So we'll dive into that towards the end of the show, but let's get into Crown Jewel. Let's get into Wrestlepalooza. And Eric, I'm going to let you kick this one off, buddy. Agree or disagree that this was the wrong booking decision by WWE?
as of today, September 23rd, 2025, this is a very mind-boggling booking decision on in my view.
No, as of today, stand on business. If you're in, you're in.
I'm going to go all in. I'm going to put the cards, I'm going to put the chips out there, and I'm going to agree that this booking decision is wrong. And it goes back to this whole John Cena run, right? He announced he was done as of December this year. And we got some really interesting moments throughout this run where he was the runner-up in the Royal Rumble. He goes and says, I'm gonna go ahead and announce that I'm gonna be in the Elimination Chamber because I feel like I deserve to be in the Elimination Chamber. and he wins the Elimination Chamber for Cody Rhodes, his opponent at WrestleMania, to come out. And we're thinking that Cody Rhodes is possibly going to sell his soul to The Rock, and we find out that he told him to go somewhere, and John Cena goes in, kicks him in the mommy daddy button, and here goes the John Cena heel run that everybody's been waiting for about 10 years, I would say. Let me tell you, from that point on, it's been very, very convoluted and very confusing. And I wouldn't say that that's John Cena's fault. I don't think we're ever going to know what happened as far as The Rock's involvement at WrestleMania is concerned. Bottom line was it fell flat. The heel turn fell flat, very below expectations. And I think WWE as a whole missed out on the opportunity to really dig into that heel run. And Cena didn't really change a whole lot in his persona. He kind of backed out on the fans and did all that. But at the end of the day, he was kind of the same guy. He didn't change. The only thing he changed was his entrance, really. And the fans decided to cling on to him. We got him turning face right before SummerSlam, and we got the best match of this run at SummerSlam. I think we can both agree with that. Now, the following month, we got Logan Paul, which was also, as we discussed, thought it was a good match. Thought Logan was the right guy. It was a new up-and-coming star that he sprinkled a little Cena dust on. Cena won the match, but Logan looked really strong. Now, backwards to SummerSlam, we see the return of Brock Lesnar. And we're thinking, all right, we're going to have this Brock Lesnar, John Cena match during this run, which, we kind of debated, it's going to be we both agreed that it was going to be a marquee match. It was going to be a match that people are going to see whether you like Brock personally, you agree with him, agree or disagree with, how he lives his life and the decisions that he's made. That besides that, you kind of, that match was going to be something that people wanted to see. They put that as part of this Wrestlepalooza, the first event on ESPN. And what do? Now, Cena got a couple licks in, but I would say this wasn't a complete squash, but it was a domination of Brock Lesnar on John Cena. We talked about this a few months ago when they were fiddling with, this whole face heel run and how good it was. And we said that we didn't want to see him losing all these matches. And he goes out and loses this match to Brock Lesnar. Unless there's something future plans that we don't know about, is there going to be a return match? I feel like this booking decision right now is just got a lot of questions that haven't been answered yet. And right now, I don't feel like it was the right decision to be made, especially now you come out of this, no mention of the match at all. And now he's out challenging AJ Styles on X. So to me, it's like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? Is there going to be a return match? Is he going to just don't know what's going on? And I wouldn't say this is John Cena's fault at all, because clearly, I think it's clear as day he's not making the choices here. I think this is all Hunter and making these booking decisions, and I think they have bigger plans for Brock Lesnar, but unfortunately, it comes at the behest of this John Cena run, and I think this makes this run even more convoluted and confusing than what it was before.
Yeah, I couldn't disagree with you more. Okay. First and foremost, I guess I'm going to start backwards, because the last couple comments you made there. We watch WWE Unreal. We hear them talk about John Cena. Okay. John may not be the creative drive behind anything, but nothing goes by without John Cena clearing it. He's got that kind of swagger and pull with his company. He's like a quarterback when they're going out and making an acquisition. When you're a franchise quarterback like Aaron Rodgers in his prime, Tom Brady, the organization goes to them to make sure, hey, before we pull the trigger on this, are you good with this? They have say in the room. They have a seat at the table. So there's no way, shape, or form that John Cena is not at the least on board with everything. Okay? That's first and foremost. Secondly, I think we're overthinking it a little bit. I agree. We did have a conversation. But here's the thing. It's not that John Cena can't lose. We said we don't want to see him lose. And part of the reason is because of previous booking, to be fair. Because we watched him lose to Theory 100 times. We watched him lose to get squashed by Solo Sikoa. I mean, we watched him do the job and do the honors and do the duties for a couple of years. So it did make this final run feel like it wasn't a nostalgia where we wanted to see him come out and do the Jimmy Dugan that we talked about and tip his little cap and, scratch his nuts and get his paycheck. We wanted to see him. If we're going to do this run, we want a John Cena run. So I'm not debating you on the success or not of the heel turn. Something was weird about that. There's wires crossed that, as you said, there may be a time or a place or a day where somebody sits down and gives an interview or somebody writes a book on what actually went down behind the scenes. I don't think we're going to learn it anytime soon. I don't think we're going to get a makeup out of this. It is what it is. And they pulled the trigger. They busted the glass in case of emergency. And they went back to, honestly, the John Cena that we hoped we would get at the end. And in fairness to them, whether the heel run went as long as we thought it would, or it went the way that we thought it would, and we talked about this from jump, Eric, I felt that the heel run was going to be done right after SummerSlam. So, that's essentially what happened. So I got the time frame I thought. I'm getting the time frame of the John Cena that I want to see. Hustle, loyalty, and respect, and everything else that comes with it. Now, we went up and down all kinds of things here, right? We talked about Undertaker's streak, and did Brock need to be the guy who broke that streak? To me, John Cena doesn't get hurt by this, okay? I don't think this is the end of it. Now, whether he's the final opponent at Saturday night's main event, we've heard him, we've heard Gunther, we've heard a couple different names thrown out. Maybe that's the ultimate destination, which I think if that ends up being the case, you'll be satisfied with that. And I know we discussed that.
Yeah, it's just kind of, I think, and we said last week, we kind of thought that Lesnar was going to dominate this match. It was clear that was kind of the makeup of this match, where Brock was getting his licks in, and Cena hadn't gotten any offense on him, and during this feud since after SummerSlam, or right after that SummerSlam match. So it was kind of clear that was probably going to be the makeup of the match, was going to be that Lesnar would dominate. And I think Cena pulling out a win and then Lesnar getting his licks in after would have probably done the same thing. If as far as continuing, whatever they plan on doing, keeping Lesnar, strong and getting Cena that win. Now, if the payoff is indeed going to be, I know you think maybe War Games, and that could be it. Absolutely. I can absolutely see that. You see that with, Lesnar now aligning himself back with Paul Heyman. So that kind of, painting that, connecting the dots, where that could be one team at War Games, and on the other side could be Cena with a group of baby faces. So that could be it. There are a couple more appearances left, but I just feel like for this run, and I think it points to the fact that Brock Lesnar is probably going to be in the conversation, if not in the main event at WrestleMania, because if they're having him dominate Cena like this, it kind of points out kind of what they did at WrestleMania 30, where he ended the Undertaker streak and he went on to SummerSlam and he became the world champion. So that kind of picture, I can see that happening again, where Brock is this almighty, nobody's touching him, nobody's beating him, and he's going straight in, to the road, down the road into the road to WrestleMania.
Right, but that gets to where I was going with this, right? So then we continue to move on with this here, right? So Brock hasn't been seen for a while, and this is something else that I don't think we were on the same page with. Maybe we just were. So my point I'm making with this, right? I made this statement to you off air that it is very clear that WWE utilized Wrestlepalooza as a show to showcase the characters and the talent, right? So you saw what they did with the Usos and the opening and the presentation, right? And getting the crowd involved and showing their personalities. So Brock Lesnar is a guy who's an ass kicker. And he's a dominant force. He's a legitimate fighter, a legitimate badass. He's a former UFC world champion. And it was clear when you look at the beginning of that show when Hunter gives his opening statement, almost his mission statement, it's very clear that this whole thing was a way they were looking at it to present their talent and the characters that they have to try to bring in others. Now, whether or not it worked was, I think, where we were kind of maybe just crossing wires on what the conversation was about.
Yeah.
Because I was saying to you, I'm not saying that worked, but to say that wasn't the idea. So, which is why I understand why the match went as it did. I am 100% certain that John Cena is not just going to go out on his back and we're not going to hear anything about Cena and Lesnar again. Now, whether it's War Games or whether it's Saturday night's main event, I don't know. If I'm being 100% honest with you, the way it's looking to me, and you mentioned AJ Styles and the randomness, and we're going to get down to that in a few minutes, but the way this is looking to me is this was booked out, John Cena as a heel, right? But we got his greatest hits, but we got him in a way that was different because John Cena worked with, other than AJ, everybody else is a heel. I'm seeing this now as we've gotten that. Now they're utilizing this to set up War Games where you're going to get Brock with the Vision, and then I think somebody else could be added to the team, to where you end up seeing something along the lines of, if Cody's not in this match, then it stays at 4. Otherwise, I think you get Cena, Orton, Cody, AJ, Punk, certainly, to where they're going to give you almost a John Cena all-star tribute match without calling it that through War Games, as well as featuring 2 of their hottest young talents in Braun and Bronson with, a smorgasbord of talent, right? So I know we say, oh, we hate when they do things to advance, but at the end of the day, their advancements, when hindsight, end up being like, okay, that did work because of this. So I'm not going to react to Wrestlepalooza and that result. I think Cena can take a squash from Brock. The reality is it is. Because then there is a realistic aspect of John Cena is 40-something years old and Brock Lesnar is still a badass. So the reality is a big man like that probably could kick his ass pretty hard like that if he's a legitimate trained fighter, right? So we talk about legitimacy and everything and this and that. I thought it came off very real. And you have to represent your guy, even if it is the same presentation. Like, over 2 years, there are casual fans and people who haven't watched Brock Lesnar. They might be young kids, so you build them up as the monster heel to be like the big scary heel, kind of like we had Earthquake when we were a kid. You know what I mean? Or Andre. You know, I'm not saying he's Andre, obviously, but just saying he's a big physically imposing human being. He's the villain for the hero to overcome. So yeah, the end game might be Saturday night's main event, like for the one-on-one aspect. But this is the story advancement to get to where we're going. And if it's War Games, depending on how that goes, and then if it is Saturday night's main event, we're going to look back at this and it's going to be a completely different conversation on how this was booked to what the result is. So I'm okay with it. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't bug me. I mean, you're probably right. And I think the original plan probably was Gunther. But it does seem like they're leaning towards Brock because they are really leaning in, even on Raw, about how Cena has only defeated Brock, I think, once or twice? Twice ever. So they're leaning in on how many times Brock has beaten him compared to how many times he's beaten Brock, to where I think he becomes almost Hogan's Andre of the unbeatable force. This guy who has been a physical menace to John Cena's whole career. He's been his kryptonite, and he goes out. And if you want to put Cena over, because we always talk about most guys go out on their back. If you want Cena to go over, who can take a loss to John Cena? It's Brock Lesnar. And it doesn't hurt him going forward because Brock Lesnar got the monster win beforehand to go into it. So I think it benefits both characters. So I'm looking at this in a totally different perspective when I say I think this was the right decision. We didn't think it was going to happen. We thought I thought this match was going to go as it did, but I thought Cena would somehow find a way to overcome. And he didn't. But with what I believe in the seeds that are dropped, Eric, I believe this is where we're headed.
If those seeds are planted correctly and you're watering those plants every day, then I can see that happening, and I can buy into that. I just don't know if they're thinking the same thing, and I hope they are. That match, and it's like I totally get where you're coming from as far as the why. I just think that it's just kind of one of those things where his dates are very limited, right? So you want to capitalize on every single opportunity you have with him. And it kind of goes back to that AJ Styles thing that we're going to get to in a minute, where there's really no build. There really doesn't need to be there. Yeah, thank you. There doesn't need to be a build for AJ Styles.
Not at all.
People have been asking for it for a while. So I like the strategy of utilizing social media. Hey, I don't have any dates between now and Crown Jewel. So what am I going to do? I'm going to post it on social media and get viral and get 2 million people to look at it. That was great. I just don't want that to be the end for Brock Lesnar and John Cena. I think that's where if the plan is War Games or Saturday Night's Main Event, it makes sense.
I just went back and I rewatched WrestleMania 40 Behind the Curtain, WrestleMania XL Behind the Curtain.
Mm-hmm.
And just rewatching how that whole thing went down with, going out there and let's test the waters. With Rock going out and making that statement, should I sit at the head of the table and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like lesson learned. This Cena seed that was dropped on his Twitter or X was, let's put it out there. I mentioned it in a promo and it got a little bit of juice. Now let's put it out there. And I think it caught such a wildfire that immediately they were like, there it is.
Yeah. And it worked. Presto, you've got your match at Crown Jewel with
John doesn't need to be present for AJ because their video packages, by the way, are so unbelievable, right? They could make, Maxine versus Piper Niven look like a WrestleMania main event with the way they run a package, right?
Yeah.
So they could literally do almost similar to what they did with Brock and Cena and go through the history of these guys and week by week show a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, one last time. However, I would promote it that way. Two of the greatest wrestlers of all time, of their generations, one last time. A rivalry renewed. However you want to do it.
Yeah.
And the fact that this was John Cena's last great feud, because he shortly after this kind of scaled back and started going part-time, then he would be away for a year. It just gives there's a lot of juice to squeeze out of this, to where they really don't need, and that's the other point, right, Eric? At this point, I know we want like things to be booked a certain way, but because John Cena has 4 or 5 dates left, whatever it is, you have to be creative with the end of this. You have to be able to promote this without him being there. And AJ Styles versus John Cena does not need John Cena to be there. It doesn't even need a reason to happen. It's the Nick loves AEW, our buddy Nick. This is literally we're giving you this because this is a great wrestling match between two guys that are two of the biggest names in the world. That's it. That's all we need.
Yep. And I think a lot of the audience to WWE probably may not have even seen this feud. And hopefully, and I would think WWE Vault has done such an amazing job. I wouldn't be surprised if their match is on there now, if not during this next few weeks. But like you said, those video packages with Brock and Cena were really well done. And I would expect them to do the same thing. And I'm sure AJ is going to come out and cut a promo. Going to beat up John Cena. I can't wait. It's going to be great. And the Australian crowd is going to be jacked, and they're going to do that AJ Styles, and then the scene, like the crowd itself is going to be electric for that match, and I can't wait to see it. It's going to be great.
And listen, early prediction, I guess, but I think Brock shows up. I don't know that he necessarily interferes, but I think this becomes a clean match, because I think that's what people want, and I think they know that. And then it becomes one of those like handshake hugs at the end, feel good moment, broken up by Brock, and that can set up the justification of AJ being on John Cena's War Games team.
That's a possibility. Another thing, and I don't know if you saw it in our chat earlier, where I had a kind of that same where Brock would show up. You give him some extra money to make that flight out to Perth, and you cost AJ Styles that win, and you get John Cena, and John Cena wins that match only because Brock didn't get the job done retiring him. I think that was kind of the message that Brock put out there for Wrestlepalooza. I'm here to put a dent in this retirement tour. If anybody's going to do it, it's going to be Brock Lesnar. And the fact that AJ Styles is now going to be a threat to it, it's a possibility maybe that Brock sees that and gives him an F5, and that's another way to get AJ Styles on that War Games team. Do I think that happens? Probably not. I think your theory probably makes a little more sense, but there's definitely options there, and I think it's going to be intriguing as far as, and I hope we get a clean match. Like that's one thing that I really hope happens. I don't want to see no interference or anything like that. I'd like to see a clear winner. But Cena's got to win the match. Come on, man. AJ's losing that. AJ loses to everybody anymore, unfortunately.
I know.
It's one of those things where it's like you're so good at your craft that you get to a point where a lot of these guys are there, unfortunately, to put younger guys over. And, he's kind of been put in that position more times than he should have over the last, I'd say, several years. But he's still a guy that's super popular. The crowd loves him every time he comes out. They're chanting his name. He's still a draw, and he's going to put out a performance. And if this is his contract's coming up, so what better way to go out if this run is it for AJ as well, for him to have this match and then possibly War Games? I mean, what better way would you want to go out than do it with the greatest of all time?
Yeah, absolutely. And Yeah, no, I agree. We need a clean match out of this. It would be unfortunate if they were to do some sort. I really don't believe that's what we're going to get here. But in fairness, you bring up a great point because AJ does lose a lot. We had this whole conversation last week about Drew and does that hurt him? I think that AJ's in a different point in his career, as you mentioned, and AJ, it is a wind down. Whether that means wind down of career, maybe he leaves and goes to AEW for a year or two to get a couple of those dream matches under his belt.
Mm-hmm.
Where he says, I could just go there and just wrestle some guys, knock a few guys off the bucket list or the wish list and then call it a day. But this is again, one of John Cena's greatest rivalries. This is AJ Styles, who in and of his own right had an amazing story to get to this point of his career, how hard he had to work. As a very underestimated, undervalued for many years, people said the greatest wrestler in the world, and nobody talks about it because he's in TNA.
WWE didn't want him because he was too small.
Right. So, what a real full circle opportunity for both guys. And again, I think that this will get us to War Games. So, speaking of Crown Jewel, I know you wanted to talk about Cody and Seth Rollins. This is another feud. So it seems like, we have conversations, and again, we have other people who were in these conversations who talk about, well, it's always the same people. I think the biggest culprit of that is it's Seth. Every feud he has goes years. It's Roman. It's Punk. I know they had that little break in between where he went face and helped Cody last year. For the better part of 2 years before then, those two were feuding. So anyway, I know you wanted to go through this match. So what are your thoughts on? Obviously, we're getting Crown Jewel back. We are having the ring back, where there's going to be two champions. The two champions face each other. But I believe these are the only two matches announced for Crown Jewel at this point. Obviously, Stephanie Vaquer is waiting for her challenger, although she's also got to face either Nia or Jade Cargill after they have their number one contenders match. But what are your thoughts on a rivalry renewed? I did like the promo on Raw, by the way.
Yes.
Very, very, very good.
Excellent.
So what are your thoughts on, yet another chapter in the Cody Seth story?
Yeah, I'm really excited for this match. Now, to your point, we've seen this match I think they said 3 times. I thought it was 2. I guess it's been 3 matches, and I know Cody has won all 3. And
you had Mania.
So you had Mania, you had Hell in a Cell, and apparently there was one more somewhere. That they're putting that in their promo, but we may have to look that up.
Yeah.
But either way, Cody's got the edge on Seth right now, and I love how they brought that up, and I love that they didn't make what happened at WrestleMania 40 like they brought it up, which was nice. They didn't insult anybody's intelligence, which wrestling can get away with insulting people's intelligence from time to time. Who's helped who and who betrayed who and things like that. So I like that they brought that up, that Seth was a big part of why Cody finished his story at WrestleMania 40. The one thing that you and I always have a discussion about and a slight disagreement is the value of the World Heavyweight Championship.
Real quick, Backlash 2022. They had a trilogy of matches.
There you go. And all 3 were good. I specifically Hell in a Cell with the torn pec, and that's wild. I still like, every time I see it. But anyway, yeah, seriously. Now, the World Heavyweight Championship, we know it's not as big as the WWE title. It's never going to be. I think you go back 20 some years, they've tried to have secondary, or equal titles. They've had, the big gold comeback. They brought in the Universal title to try to, have something on the other brand. And now, over the last few years, they brought the World Heavyweight title over, which has only been held by a handful of people. But I think the people that have held it, Seth has had it twice. Gunther has done a nice job with it. Jey Uso, they've done a nice job with it. But at the end of the day, the WWE Undisputed Championship that's held by Cody Rhodes is the flagship championship, right? So I think this is a great opportunity, and it looks like, they're leaning into it as far as, Cody's got 3 wins over Seth. Seth gets a win here. It not only gets him a win over Cody, but it also, even though the title's not on the line, the World Heavyweight Champion gets a victory over the WWE Champion, which can only help that title. And I'm hoping that that's the direction they're going in, because I think the championships get criticism a lot of times with, how long these reigns have been in recent memory. And I think for good reason that they do that is because they want these titles to really mean something. And there needs to be, there just needs to be more, lineage to them. So I think these longer reigns are good in the long term. Sometimes in the short term, it's a little tough because, it's kind of predictable that people aren't winning the title. And I think, that kind of goes to Drew and Cody at WrestlePalooza, but kind of the predictability of I don't think this guy's losing the title anytime soon. But I think this is a golden opportunity for them to put some good quality, establishment on the World Heavyweight title with this match. And doesn't have to win clean, but a win's a win. And he can go out and brag, "Hey, the World Heavyweight Champion! Yeah, this is the and then he can sell it because he's Seth freaking Rollins for a reason. He knows how to do it and knows how to get under people's skin, and he'll make it. He'll be talking about that for months. That he beat the world. I'm the real champion. I mean, it's right there for them for the taking. So hopefully they take advantage of it.
Oh yeah, I mean, when you brought this topic up, you thought we were going to have varying or differing opinions. I couldn't agree with you more. I think you have to have Seth Rollins win this match for every reason that you gave, because Cody has had his day in this feud, and that's not to say that he won't going forward, but the opportunity to continue Seth's momentum. I do think Cody's the number one guy.
Yeah.
He is what he is. And we'll get into PWI 500, but spoiler alert, Cody's number one, right? The opportunity to advance this title and its meaning and its stature within professional wrestling is massive. And I said it from day one, and I'll say it again. I said this to everybody that we know. I said it on other ATV wrestling shows. Seth Rollins was the perfect guy to start with this title. And every time he has held the World Heavyweight title, it has felt important. And I think that's important. It's a key factor to point out here that Seth, there are other people that held this title where you felt like it was modest. It was a true secondary title along the lines of a U.S. title or an Intercontinental title. When Seth Rollins holds this title, and it's happened every time he has, it feels on the same level as the WWE Championship. So for him to go and get a win over Cody Rhodes, and similar to what MJF does, walk around with that ring, wear it to the ring, flaunt it to the camera, bring it up in every promo. It's priceless. It just opens up a whole bunch of possibilities. So I'm with you on this, brother. You get no pushback from me.
I think the difference was kind of the secondary, feeling like the world title secondary. Like it shouldn't
throw a light on for myself. Go ahead.
Okay, it shouldn't feel secondary. And I think you're right. The guy for that title, the person holding it makes that title versus sometimes, the title makes the person. I think in this instance, the person is making the title, and he makes it more valuable the longer he has it. And whoever winds up taking it from him, the title will mean as much as it does because of Seth Rollins.
Got our boy Ruin here. I think it's pretty clear they're going to milk Seth Punk title until WrestleMania Night 1. I was hoping Punk would get the big WrestleMania match with Cody for the WrestleMania for WWE strap, but I can't see that happening now. No, I think, again, maybe I'm in the minority of this. We know others that disagree, but I have felt, that circumstances changed last year and they weren't able to go to here. I just feel that this is something that they can push it out to Mania, and I don't think it hurts it at all. Certain people are tired of it, so be it. Those same people tell us that they want to see other people wrestle a million times. So, it's a matter of convenience.
For better or for worse,
doesn't.
Yeah, for better or for worse. Right now, there's really nobody else that's really set up to take that spot, to be that number one contender, and except for Punk. I mean, if you look at Raw right now, Jey Uso, LA Knight, you got Jimmy involved, and you got the Vision. They're kind of doing their thing, while Seth is doing his thing with Cody. And then after that, it's probably going to go to War Games. So you're already in November there, and then you've got December, January. You got Royal Rumble. So you're either doing that at Royal Rumble or you're pushing it to WrestleMania. So, I mean, chances are you're probably. I mean, and that's a bona fide WrestleMania main event. I don't see anything else right now on the horizon that would top that. So chances are that's probably what we're getting. And to your point, it's like, yeah, right. Like, there is some impatience with, the internet wrestling community. I get impatient sometimes too. It's kind of one of those things, like, you look back 20, 30 years ago, this thing would have milked out for 2-3 years and maybe got a payoff at the end. Like, I think things have kind of, changed, but they've stayed the same, where if you build something and you continue to put layers in it, you're going to see it come to a bigger payout and a bigger payoff at the end. And I think that's what you're going to see here. Like, Punk got robbed. He got cashed in on. So now this is his redemption story, where now he's brought his wife involved, and now they're going to go into War Games. So I think it's going slow, but it's methodical and strategic. It's kind of like the opposite of what I was just saying with Cena, where it feels like I don't know what's going on, but I feel like you can see what's going on with Punk and Seth. So we shall see, sir.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. I do want to, we're just real quick. There's 2 points, I think, or maybe 3 points. Just quick thoughts from WrestlePalooza before we jump to the PWI real quick. First and foremost, Stephanie McMahon, surprise announcement. She goes into the WWE Hall of Fame. Undertaker surprises her. Your thoughts on this? Because this seems to be a thing now, right? We've seen it for years, where not necessarily it's like a surprise like this, but like when people are candidates of a Hall of Fame, say the NFL or NBA or Major League Baseball, they'll get a phone call, or someone will knock on their door and surprise them. And I like that WWE is now capitalizing on the social media and the streaming platform and giving us those actual interactions of showing us, Hunter got surprised last year. Michelle McCool surprised on, I don't remember if it was Get Up or if it was First Take.
Luger got surprised at his house with DDP and Cody.
And they had, right. So, like, what are your thoughts, A, on Stephanie going in? because I think we're probably along the same lines here. Well deserved. And the other part is, how do you like this new? And I don't imagine they're going to do it for everybody, but maybe for the headliners at least.
Yeah.
This new, like, let's find a creative way to let them know and let's share it with the fans and let them experience that moment with them.
Oh, yeah. I think it's, like you said, it's a page right out of Hall of Fame, like the NFL. Like, they go to the house, they knock on the door. Here, a guy with the jacket on, like, hey, I'm in the Hall of Fame. I'm gonna bring you in. I'm gonna I want to welcome you to the class. Yeah, welcome you to the group, which is really cool. And I think this was and of course it goes without saying, she deserves to go in. Are there other people that may, there's probably other people out there, but I think she's one that everybody can relate and knows kind of her story and kind of some of the things that have gone on with, her father, and kind of, she kind of stepped away for a bit and came back and she's, and even, and of course before that as an on-screen character, as a GM of SmackDown, she's done a lot for the business, and I'm glad that she's back involved, and I'm glad that she's going to get a rightful place. I would say, that being said, and I know we're going to talk about Wrestlepalooza a little bit, and I know you and I have had differing thoughts about, what the goal was and what the expectations were for this show. And I want to be the first to say that I thought the show was good. I thought overall the show was good. Had some really good matches. Stephanie and Io tore the house down. I think that should have been the opening match, by the way. But I think, you got what you were thinking you were going to get with the mixed tag match. We kind of said it, and was kind of spot on. And Cody and Drew was, it was good. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. Usos and the Vision, it was what it was. And like I said last week, I really thought that there was going to be more to the surprise element. Yeah, we got that. We got Stephanie and Taker. Cool, great. Like, that's all well and good. We got Pat McAfee, which everybody and their mom knew. If you were watching the Pat McAfee show, if you saw him on social media and you knew where the venue was, it's
Indianapolis.
You knew Pat McAfee was going to be.
He's not missing a show in Indianapolis.
Foregone conclusion. Let's go. But I just expected, and maybe because my expectations were so high because of ESPN, I just think that they missed an opportunity to just have, I don't even know what they would have some legends, have some, I love the video package at the beginning. That was really good. But it was just missing something to me. And for somebody like myself and for like you, Chrome, we're going to watch it. And if we had to pay $29.99, we were going to pull out our credit cards and pay for the show, because we do this. One, we do the podcast. Two, because we're big wrestling fans. We're going to watch it either way. But if the goal was to get a new audience, if the goal is to get new viewers to sign up for this platform, and I'm sure ESPN has been building this on their bottom screen, saying, hey, download the app, we got unlimited. And I'm sure people signed up to watch college football. I'm sure that I know there's some camera views and things like that, different interactive things that I'm, if I haven't signed up for it yet, but I'm hearing these things. So I used a VPN to watch Wrestlepalooza, and it worked out pretty well. But if WWE TKO was expecting to get a different audience for this show, I think they are sadly mistaken. I just don't see people that aren't in the bubble of watching wrestling paying $29.99 to just watch wrestling. Now, if they're watching football, if they got the platform to watch football, they're watching football. They're not watching wrestling. So I just have a hard time trying to decipher where WWE thinks that they're getting this extra audience from. If anything, you might be losing audience because people may be paying $29.99 and may not be able to do it. So I just have a hard time trying to figure out why they think that there was going to be new viewers to this show. The casual fan the fan that's watching every Monday and Friday and watching the shows and watching all the PLEs, they're probably tuning in, most of them, but I just don't see where they're getting this other audience from. It's kind of hard for me to figure it out, but the show was good. I just think WWE somewhere, I don't think that one, and another thing too, I don't think the platform was promoted as well as it could have. Yeah, they did a little last ditch effort with R-Truth, and and they definitely tried on SmackDown, but I think it's still confusing to people. I mean, I don't know. What are your thoughts, man? You're muted.
I got it. Rookie. Yeah, listen, I enjoyed the show. Okay, I did enjoy the show. I thought match-wise, it was about what I expected.
Yeah.
And for me to go in and for, obviously what we talked about last week, for them to hit the expectation of essentially almost every match that I had in mind, tells me, to me, that was what would make it a successful story or a successful show. So I did enjoy the show. I felt that I think the criticism is the wrestling fan mindset of, we expected a bigger show because of this new platform, and we've seen what they've done on Netflix when they made it premiere on the Netflix.
And all you heard all week was Triple H saying, we're going to have all these surprises and all this, like, so
I don't remember him saying
that way.
All these surprises. I remember him saying you're going to see great matches and surprises. I don't remember him saying like I didn't go in thinking we're going to get like 2 returns and
no, but
Cody's going to drop the title. Although WrestleOps did report that Cody and Orton presented to drop the title. So
I saw that. Yeah,
quick note for everybody here: WrestleOps, which is a pretty good wrestling media outlet,
yes,
had 2 reports that Cena, as of the morning of WrestlePalooza, Cena was originally booked to defeat Brock Lesnar, and then it got changed last minute. Just a little little food for thought. And then obviously the other, which was more surprising, was Cody and Randy Orton themselves went to creative with they pushed for it. And it's so funny because it comes off of the heels of what we talked about last week, Eric, where we talked about Drew and the losses in big matches. But Cody, the champion himself, pushed for Drew to who was it to cost him?
It was Orton was going to accidentally
cost
Cody the title.
And then McIntyre was going to win the title.
Yeah.
So, interesting point. Yes, I think in terms of the shock factor, that would have been a game changer. However, we didn't get that, obviously. And I do believe overall show was good. Yeah. I think for new eyes to see something at the level of what you got from an Io Sky and a Stephanie Vaquer.
You
Io
say,
Sky and Stephanie Vaquer, we're good now.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And then I think you got a bit of everything. So again, it depends on how you look at it. Now, ESPN themselves were a little critical of the show. They also think their person he grades their shows all the time. He's a little bit of a mark. So it's not like, and you know what? That's fair. It makes.
I appreciate the honesty.
Correct.
It's not like, A+, baby.
Correct. You're getting an honest opinion on it, right?
Now, that being said, I think it depends on what do you look at as a success. I started the show talking about how WWE, I think, wanted to present all aspects of their business to try to display and showcase what WWE is. And part of that is
We have the monsters like a Brock Lesnar. We have the legends like a John Cena. We have two young, incredibly athletic, up in the conversation of men or women best wrestlers in the world, world-class female wrestlers to promote women. And I think Stephanie ties into that because Stephanie was such a big, important piece to the women's evolution, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
And that too is one of, the thing with Stephanie is there's more, the in-ring alone maybe could be borderline, but I think she was such an important part of so many major storylines with every top name. And of course she's a McMahon, but it's not just that. It's she like did well in her presentation and acting. And, I think that's deserving enough. But then when you look at the behind the scenes, the charity work, how hard she pushed for women to advance in this business, I think it's a very well deserved. But they're able to showcase that. They get the legend, The Undertaker, on there, just because you get that, right? Because you get to showcase one of your legends. Then you get the big return, which is something that happens in wrestling. So now you get the returning star. First time after 10 years. There were just so many storylines and things going on. Then you get, you show them that there can be a violent, hardcore aspect to things. They really put out a buffet of what everything is. And that to me is why I didn't have an issue with how the show was. Listen, I think this show, and Hunter admitted that basically ESPN had them under the gun to put something out there because they wanted to speed this up. We talked about it. You brought it up last week. I mean, hell, even with the name, they did it as an homage to ECW, but they also didn't have much time to think of a different name, right?
Right.
So I think all of this was put together in a short period of time, and how can we present our product and show as many aspects of it as we can on a grand scale. Because listen, the rest of the shows they're getting are all top-notch shows. They're getting every major pay-per-view they have. So if we're expecting that Mania and SummerSlam and Royal Rumble are going to be this quality, then we have a problem. But for a PLE, and I think too, you don't want your first show on ESPN being Survivor Series or WrestleMania or Royal Rumble, because if there's an issue, whether it's with the streaming, I mean, we saw Netflix when they put out Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, absolute catastrophe of trying to get through the first 5 rounds of that. It kicked you out every 2 seconds.
Yeah.
For the whole time. There's an opportunity, too, for them to not give away the shop, put out a good show, a really good show, display all the aspects of their business, and come out. So, again, maybe I'm overthinking it. I really don't think that I am. I think it's common sense that that's what the mission was when you heard Hunter talk, and understanding they were in a very short leash and time frame to get this out.
Like I said, it was a good show. Like I am not arguing that fact. That
I thought it was better than a C show. I would have gave it B minus maybe.
I say B. Yeah, we're right on part there. But real quick, like I would just say the last thing I want to say is you said new audience, and that's the key. Did they get any new audience? And I don't know if we're ever gonna know. I mean, I'm sure ESPN will come out with, hopefully come out with some like, hey, we've got X amount of subscribers. I don't know how much we're gonna find out. Like, we don't get a lot from Netflix either, so it's kind of hard to gauge. But I think the key is, did you get the audience that you were expecting? And if you did, great, it's a success. But I just find it very tough to believe that they got anybody new as far as viewers are concerned with this, especially how Some cable providers had it, some didn't. Some people had it on Netflix and overseas. Some people getting VPN. Some people then had to pay $29.99 because they thought they had it in a bundle with Hulu and Disney Plus. And no, it was just very, very tough for the consumer to try to find it. And we said that last week, where are people going to be able to locate it? And are they going to be able to tune in? And hopefully that's the case. But I just find it hard to believe, like, anybody, like, just because of that, did they get anybody new? And that's a hard thing to know.
Listen, it wasn't Money in the Bank. It wasn't Royal Rumble.
No, but it was good.
But it was above Saturday night's main event, which is one of their bigger presented shows. And again, first time out the gate, you're not going to put one of your big time shows on there. I didn't have an issue with it. You're right. We're not going to really know if they got new people or not, particularly because a lot of people at this point are going to be upgrading. You don't know if it's because of wrestling or not. They're going to release streaming numbers at some point. So honestly, I'm not overly concerned, because people thought, when WWE went to Peacock, people thought, are people going to follow them to Peacock? And guess what? They did. When they
Peacock was a lot cheaper.
But regardless, like, I don't know, a lot of people like commercial free on things, and I can tell you, like, you're talking $29.99, but you're getting Hulu, Disney Plus, and like, you're getting three things. You're essentially paying $10.
But you're only getting it for a year, and then it goes to $40, and then it goes another $10. So
right, but regardless, Eric, I pay so much for streaming services right now.
I know.
We're looking at if I'm just a WWE fan and, like, I don't care about Disney Plus, I don't care about Hulu, you're 100% right. But there is good programming on all of that stuff.
Sure.
Where it is a value package regardless, because it's essentially $9.99.
I don't know if a consumer doesn't have that already and they have everything else, now they got to fork out another $30. If they don't have those items,
then they have to make a decision and say, you know what? I've watched everything they have on Peacock. They put most of it now on the vault on YouTube anyway. I don't need Peacock. That'll save me the difference of the money to go and get. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I don't think that. I get the price point. I don't like it either. I don't like that I have to go to multiple. My thing is even the price point. It's that I have to go to multiple platforms for multiple.
Yeah.
That's what's annoying to me.
Yep.
I get Peacock for free. I think I upgraded for like $4 extra a month. So I pay like $4 a month for the unlimited, like for the commercial free. Yeah. I hate commercials. So I always pay for a top package.
Yeah, I'll pay the extra too. I'm that way too.
Yeah, I can't sit there and watch 100 commercials.
Yeah.
And at some point I will do the upgrade so I have this same bundle, just not the unlimited, through Verizon. I will cancel it through Verizon and I will do the upgrade on my own in due time. Probably closer to Royal Rumble. I don't feel the necessity to do it right this moment.
Right. I mean, I was impressed with the VPN myself. The only thing with the VPN is you can't watch it on TV. You got to watch it on a tablet or a smartphone and stuff like that. And who wants to do that? So, I mean, I'm hoping that I have YouTube. So hopefully, eventually, they will get a deal, and that'll be the end. But until then, it's like wait. Got a couple months. Hopefully, they'll figure it all out.
Right. A couple comments in here. Yeah, I think it'll be fine. Yeah, there's Joey, my buddy Joey, ESPN fighter gave you. Yep, we know Joey.
Hey, Joey. Yeah, we don't agree. I think, and if he thinks it's a C, that's his opinion, and we'll see what happens moving
forward. Good on him.
Yeah.
And what else are you gonna say? Good on him.
PWI.
Yeah. So obviously, big news today. I can't believe it's already out. I feel like last year's was just released. I actually subscribed. I subscribe to Pro Wrestling Illustrated. I still get the physical copies of the magazine.
That's awesome. I didn't even know they still made the physical copies.
It's all color now. Like back in the day when we were kids.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Theirs typically had some color and then some black and white. It's all color now. So I've subscribed for like 3 years.
That's awesome.
Maybe 4. I like the idea of having the physical magazine. I miss WWF magazine. I have a number of WWF magazines.
Yeah, I've got some somewhere too.
I miss it. Yeah, true story, real quick. I went to the Berlin Farmers Market back when our old buddy on here, Matt Tremont, had a wrestling store there, and he would sell a lot of wrestling stuff. He had a wrestling store. He doesn't have any more, obviously. And he had like a bin with all WWF magazines. So I went in there.
Wow.
They were like $5, whatever. So I went in and I bought a couple of them. Go home, I start flipping through one, and remember that had like the perforated edges from trading cards and stuff in there.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, it had one where it was like a bigger thing, signed by Sid.
No way.
Autographed Sid inside there. It was awesome.
That's awesome.
It was our first like big A2D lazy booking wrestling interview. Rest in peace to our old buddy Sid. Actually watched a little bit of that episode the other day. Good one. Tells some great stories.
Awesome.
I've been researching some of the old interviews in our archives, which, by the way, you guys can check out on A2D's YouTube, or Lazy Booking Podcast has its own YouTube as well, where you can go in. I don't have all of the interviews. I have 5 of the past interviews posted up there. Sid is one of them. But I'm going to eventually archive some of the old interviews, roundtables, and classic shows on there, along with our new shows, and just to have a quicker place to grab them if you don't have time to go and search for them. But
awesome.
On A2D's YouTube, you can find a whole bunch of stuff. Anyway, so, but yeah, so I do get the physical magazine.
That's so cool.
And it feels like it just. So I think I'll probably get that one in the next week or so.
So from what I read, this is it'll be in the December issue.
Okay, so
yeah, so you might have some time. Yeah. So a little bit about PWI. Those of you not familiar, Pro Wrestling Illustrated. They've been doing the top 500 wrestlers since 1991. So Chrome and I did some research looking at 1991, and without looking, so number 1 was Hulk Hogan, of course. But
you quizzed me. I got the top 5.
So see if anybody can guess who number 2 was. And I'll give you a hint. He was not a WWF superstar at the time. See if anybody can guess. And don't cheat. Don't be one of those cheaters.
Everybody's going to cheat.
Everybody going to cheat.
He's
a
a
bunch of
cheater.
cheaters out there.
Cheater.
But yeah, so they released the top 500 wrestlers, and it goes, WWE, AEW, New Japan, basically everywhere, in Mexico, all the promotions, some independents. So you want to go through the top 10? How you want to do this?
I don't think anybody's going to go through it. I want you to read the old top 10, just because it would be like 35 years later at this point.
All right.
This is the top 10 of 1991.
All right. So
and then I'm going to read the top 10 of 2025.
Okay.
After
Cool.
This.
All right. Cool. So we'll go from 10 to 1. So number 10 was Rick Steiner of the Steiner Brothers. Number 9 was Arn Anderson. And you'll see a trend here. A lot of NWA, WCW guys.
Yeah.
So number 8 was Dr. Death, Steve Williams. God rest his soul. Dr. Death's my boy. Rue would know about that.
My boy.
Ricky Steamboat, number 7. So I believe Ricky Steamboat was in WWF in 1991. He came back in 91 for a little bit. Number 6 was Scott Steiner. So you had both Steiner brothers tag team in the top 10 of the PWI 500. Number 5 was the Stinger. Number 4 was the Macho Man, Randy Savage. Number 3 was Ric Flair. And remember, in 91, Ric Flair left WCW to go to WWF in the summer. Number 2 was Lex Luger. So Lex Luger was in WCW.
That's the one I guessed, but was shocked at how high on that list. I would
Yeah.
have thought he would be 8, 9, 10. Shocked.
So Luger was basically the heir apparent. He was supposed to fight Flair, I think, at the Great American Bash, and then that's when Ric Flair said he wasn't showing up, and they had with Jim Hurd, I think, was the guy that was running WCW, called him the Pizza Hut guy, and he took the belt with him and took it to Bobby Heenan, and the rest is history. And then, of course, number one is
world champion.
Yeah, I'm Ric Flair. I'm the real world champion. And then number 1 was the other champion, Hulk Hogan. So that was 34 years ago that list, and that's the first one. And then now
34 years ago, but 35 lists ago. So
yeah.
Think about the names, the wrestling styles, the gimmicks of that list. And then you look at what it is now, 34 years later. So going down 10-1 this year's top 10 of the PWI top 10. By the way, quick note, number 40 on that list also was a guest here on Lazy Booking 3 years ago. Now a WWE ID prospect, Marcus Mathers. Go back and check out that interview. So congratulations to him year over year. He actually made a social media post. Before I read this real quick, I want to read. So Marcus made a post about it, and he said, so he's been in it the last 4 years. Now, mind you, he's only 22. Started at 461, jumped to 360. Last year was 140, and this year he's number 40. So congratulations to Marcus.
Congrats, man.
Was
It's
great.
awesome.
Always was a great kid, big wrestling fan, living his dream, potential future WWE superstar here, and he's made it to number 40 on the PWI Top 500. Number 10 is Will Ospreay of AEW. Number 9 is Mystico from CMLL. Number 8, Seth Rollins from WWE. Number 7, Swerve Strickland from AEW. Number 6, Jey Uso of WWE. Number 5, Hiroki Goto from NJPW. Number 4, Hangman Adam Page of AEW. Number 3, Gunther WWE. Number 2, Jon Moxley AEW. And number 1, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. Your thoughts?
So, I don't know a lot about Hiroki Goto. I have to take a look at him. I'm not sure about him, but I think Cody's deserving. So just a little bit of insight. This goes from an evaluation from August 2024 to July 31st of 25. So it's kind of mid-year to mid-year, and it goes off of different criteria like win-loss record, championships that are won, major feuds, quality of competition, and overall wrestling ability. So there's different factors that play into this. And the first person that really number 10 should probably be in the top 3, and number 2, I'm not surprised, but I don't think Jon Moxley had a great year. I don't. There's not a match that I really remember, and we all know the Death Riders story. It's been the top AEW story, but it's really fell flat, and I think the audience has and social media has been very vocal as far as that goes. So, Hangman probably is right there. I mean, you can make an argument for him to be the top guy. Jey Uso, I mean, who had a bigger year than him? Like, he's just been super over. Like, I think that's most of the reason why he's in the top 10. One guy that is way down the list that I was really surprised at was Dominic Mysterio, number 48. Not that maybe not top 10, but like top 15. I think, for the rest of the list, I think I'd put Seth maybe a little higher. Okada is probably right. I mean, except for the only guy I'd probably take out, and not knowing much about Hiroki Goto, I'd probably take Moxley out of the top 10. He's a top 15, but not number 2. But yeah, that's my thoughts.
Yeah, I am not. I think a lot of the names are good. I agree with you. I don't know much about Gatto. I don't watch a lot of NJPW anymore. I feel like everybody defects now there and goes to AEW. So it's just not. I could watch great wrestling in AEW. I only have so much time in my day, especially with the season now. So I can't really comment too much on that, but I think Mystico is good. A little surprised that Mystico is up in that list as well. For fans who don't know, if I'm correct, I believe Mystico is the old Sin Cara, the original Sin Cara of WWE.
I believe so, yeah.
Which is insane to me because what a botch fest he was all those years. And he actually is tremendous to watch now.
Yeah.
But the growth for that man is wild. But anyway, I think Hangman's too low. Moxley, I don't think should even be on the list. I said this to you guys before in our private chat. I don't believe that you should be in a top 10 of a top 500 wrestling list because of booking decisions, because that's the only explanation that puts Jon Moxley, because this run was terrible. I think the first 3 months started good. When you thought that there was maybe like a past WWE faction type of deal, similar to NWO, with the reveal of like a Shane McMahon or somebody being behind this, right? Never got there, never happened. We put the title belt in a briefcase for almost a year, and you didn't say it. And that was just an awful storyline. I think every Jon Moxley match was a rinse and repeat. And when you constantly do the deathmatch shocking stuff, particularly on the WWE scale, it's different if you're like an indie deathmatch wrestler and that's what you want to do. But in his case, too much. Hold on one sec. But in his case, when you're one of the faces of a major syndicated program such as they are, it is hard for me to get behind the same thing over and over. The shock factor becomes gone. Like, at least with Mick, he did different things and he pick and chose his moments. He didn't do all that same shit on Raw. As, like Moxley bleeds every freaking match he's in on Dynamite. Like, or Collision. It's the same shit every day. I don't think the character is that great now. I think it started hot but got really, really bad. So I don't understand his inclusion on there. I gave it earlier. I'm going to give you mine. I will take John Cena off of my list. I originally had John Cena on there for a couple of reasons that were already presented. Maybe not the greatest thing in the world in terms of how this is going. If you're going by the dates that they set up to the 31st of July,
mm-hmm.
I still think he's a guy that I look at when I look at status. Biggest moment of the year. I don't care what anybody says, regardless of how the follow through ended up. John Cena's heel turn is the biggest moment of the year.
Yeah.
And he has had unbelievable match quality overall, minus the Brock match. So, and obviously the WrestleMania. I didn't mind the WrestleMania match. I get it was a slower style, but it was intended for the storytelling, and I liked it. But obviously the ending was what it was. But giving you my top 10. I'm going to remove John Cena at 10. I'm going to put Kyle Fletcher because I think Kyle Fletcher has an unbelievable year. You could argue maybe even an Okada, even though I think the Okada is a little bit of rinse and repeat as well. Match quality is through the roof, and you can't take it away from him. So, but I'm going to go Kyle Fletcher because I think Kyle Fletcher, from where this year started to where he ended up at the end of the year, is astronomical. You can make an argument that he should be the world champion for this company. I'm not even joking. I think, or at least in the contendership for that. And then let me see here. It's like everybody's flight's taken off now. I had to do it outside that. Will Ospreay is my number 9. I think that Will has had a good year. In terms of his matches, great. I have not been a fan of the story. I know me and Nick beg to differ on this. I don't believe that he's been a heater for anything. I think he's played a supporting character. At the end of the day, all of that was about Swerve Strickland and Hangman Page and getting them to where they were. Having one great 8-man tag or 10-man tag or whatever they call it, Stadium Stampede match, whatever the hell they call it, that to me is not enough. So, and then going through the rest of my list here, I have CM Punk, who I think's had a really good year. I have Gunther, who I can maybe argue could go a little bit higher. I have Dom, who I think by the end of this year could be a top 5. It's hard to argue against Jey Uso with where he's.
Yeah.
He's got to be a top 5. Number 4, I have Swerve. 3, I have Seth Rollins. I have Cody at 2. And to me, Hangman Page, I think has had an unbelievable year.
Yeah.
His character development has been great. All of his in-ring matches have been tremendous. I think he's been so much of a better champion, even just in talking already. I think he's going to have a monster year coming up. So that is my top 10. Fletcher, Ospreay, Punk, Gunther, Dom, Jay, Swerve, Seth Rollins, Cody, and Hangman.
No, the guy I don't see on this list at all, Roman.
He may not have qualified because he probably didn't have enough.
You know what?
They do have a.
Yeah, I mean they have Tommy Dreamer on the list at 487.
Yeah, they have a. That's crazy, by the way. They have a. There's a qualification for it. So
gotcha.
He may not have qualified for it. Otherwise, I don't care if he hits the minimum. Roman's going to be a top 5 or top 10. So.
Yeah, I don't see him on the list.
I think we saw him a little bit less this year.
Oh,
so
yeah,
and
folks, he shouldn't be in a top 10 this year, just because he hasn't done much of anything of note. He had the triple threat match at Mania.
Yeah, keep in mind, folks, this is a top 10 list as well. Or, on all men's lists rather.
Yeah, the women's list that's not out yet, right?
I can interchange quite a few women in there. But yeah, interesting list. I'm sure it'll be debated. Again, I know why Cody's won. I would personally put Hangman there. I don't know why Jon Moxley is too.
Like I said, I think you can interchange a couple guys. Like I get why Cody's, and I agree. Hangman, despite some questionable booking from AEW, has come risen to the top. He delivers. So I think he should be 1 or 2. And Gunther, you can't argue his matches are usually strong. He's gotten better on the mic as well. I think his run with the world title is pretty underrated. Jericho is down I just saw his name. He's number 54, right above Adam Cole, baby.
Shocking, actually.
Yeah.
Anyway, anything else for the cause, Eric, before we sign off here, buddy?
No, this was a good show, and we went a little more than we planned, but I think it was we had a lot of topics, and I think we hit them all really well, and hopefully everybody enjoyed. And we will we'll have stuff. I'm sure we'll have more to talk about next time. But yeah, that's it, man. It's a good show, and we shall see what happens coming up in the coming weeks leading up to Crown Jewel, baby.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Stay tuned. Next week, I believe, actually, I have to talk to him. Might be our mini show because it's after week
nice.
4. So I'll talk to him. It'll be either next week or the following week. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you guys follow A2D's social media pages. Follow Lazy Booking as well because we will post when that is going to be. I have to confirm with him. So make sure you guys are joining them and checking out with them. And make sure that you guys check us all out on Instagram as well, A2D at A2D Radio and at Lazy Booking Podcast. Obviously, you can find myself too and Eric. We have our handles up there at Heel Chrome and at Eric the Archer. Great show today. Thank you to everybody who commented. Thank you everyone who threw a like on there. If you haven't yet on your way out the door, please do so. An exciting time. We're revving up. We're going to be coming up to SummerSlam pretty quick, or I'm sorry, Survivor Series pretty quick. So, yeah, it's exciting. Thank you to our sponsor, Specialized Physical Therapy. Appreciate them. And for all of you out there, for all of us here at A2D Radio, myself, Eric Archer, we wish you guys a wonderful week. Hope you guys are blessed and loved. Tell someone you love them. And, hey, go Birds.
See ya.